Hey everyone, it's time to Nefis and Chill. In this video, I'll essentially be reviewing Back 4 Blood and give my opinion as to whether or not you should spend $60 in buying this game, because I've seen a lot of hesitancy and similar sentiments in regards to the price of the game, the legacy of the game, namely Left 4 Dead, and other concerns voiced by many consumers, including myself. Of course, this doesn't really apply to the people who will have this for free on their Xbox Game Pass for their Xbox and PC, on the 12th of October 2021. If you don't want to watch the entirety of this video, my answer to the question is yes. Absolutely yes, you should buy it and play it. As far as my experience with Back 4 Blood goes, I played over 22 hours of the beta, going from veteran and to nightmare difficulty. Then hesitantly, I got the early access by pre-ordering the deluxe edition, which was about $80. And as of the uploading this video, I've already spent over 20 hours playing this game since the night of its early access release day. In that short time, I've cleared all of the current campaigns from Act 1 to Act 4 on the veteran difficulty, which seems to be quite challenging for a majority of players judging from the Turtle Rock Studios Discord server. So, with my mediocre repertoire stated and the premise of the video established, let's delve into Back 4 Blood and why it may be worth for you to pick this up. It's incredibly hard to not talk about Left 4 Dead and the Valve taking Left 4 Dead 2 and the giant shoes that must be filled by its so-called spiritual successor made by the same game developer studios that constantly face criticism or praise over this new game in relation to their previous work. You'll undoubtedly have heard that Back 4 Blood is not exactly Left 4 Dead or Left 4 Dead 2, and that may put you off, so let me explain what exactly is different and what is incredibly similar in many aspects. But before that, I gotta tell you something. I remember sitting down on my friend's floor with his Xbox 360 and we noticed a game demo of something called Left 4 Dead. At the time, we never heard of it and we gave it a go. We fell in love with it. I ended up playing Left 4 Dead 2 long after that for literally almost a decade, whether it was with friends on Xbox, with hilarious mods on Steam PC, or just revisiting it. I got into the lore of Left 4 Dead pretty hard, learning about the Green Flu, reading the comics of how Bill's sacrifice actually went, and enjoying even the trivia of all the special infected and their potential lore. I enjoy the character personalities of Zoe, Bill, and Lewis, and of course, I hate everything Francis. Then I did the same with Rochelle, Coach, Nick, and Alice when it was their turn. And of course, like many others, I longed for Left 4 Dead 3. I can say with confidence that Back 4 Blood, despite having a different universe and lore background, despite not having campaign verses, which I'll get into later, and despite not having those Steam mods, has made me feel like I was falling in love with Left 4 Dead again, but a more modern and thoughtful version of it. As far as similarities go, there are special infected or mutations that have similar abilities or concepts to their Left 4 Dead predecessors. The formula of crescendo events is quite clear. An AI director, the 4 group members, and so on are pretty much nearly the same, even if they have different names or systems. The characters seem to have depth to them, quirky dialogues, and fun personalities such as Hoffman, Doc, and a couple others I've noticed. And I'm sure Turtle Rock Studios can flesh out the characters' lore and personalities along with the universe of the game with their own comics or future content in game they'll be adding to this game very easily. Some of the gameplay is of course distinctly not the same, nor are some of the combat or replayability concepts such as weak spots and the card system that you'll see in Back 4 Blood. And you know what? That's okay. It doesn't have to be the exact same game. After all, it's been more than 13 years since Left 4 Dead 2 was released. I'll be more surprised if there weren't changes, and I have this sneaking suspicion that Turtle Rock Studios has been studying not just what they could do, but what other games, such as World War Z, which I've also played a ton in my longing for Left 4 Dead 3, could have done better. And I'm going to say right now, Back 4 Blood definitely is better and more enjoyable than World War Z, at least for me. So, let's talk about campaign versus, or lack thereof, alongside a few other things. The campaign content, at least on veteran difficulty and nightmare difficulty, can be incredibly long. On my first ever veteran clear of the entirety of Act 2, 3 other strangers and I took almost 3 hours to finish it with 1 failed attempt. I genuinely don't understand how campaign versus would work in such a long campaign. People would simply drop out. This, in conjunction with how the AI director works with the corrupted card system, would probably make things way too favorable for the special infected or mutations. The gameplay of Back 4 Blood is also such that, especially on Veteran and Nightmare, you're not gonna have the Rambo-like playstyle or speedrunning that you often saw in the Left 4 Dead community. The game heavily emphasizes building around your team, synergizing with your team, and most importantly, always working with your team. As for PvP, if we don't have campaign versus, well, then what does Back 4 Blood have? It does have PvP, but it's called Swarm Mode, where basically the team that survives longer than the other, taking turns as mutations or survivors or cleaners, will win. And of course, this takes place in an arena-like map that slowly but surely gets enclosed by a swarm of locusts. According to some feedback from other players I've asked, it can be a hit or miss depending on the map or group you play with. Personally, it's not my cup of tea, but if people enjoy it, it is what it is. Also, one big thing a lot of people don't seem to be talking about is that, unlike Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood is crossplay. And this, I think, is a huge plus for not just the game, but for the community. But you console players really need to stop being an open mic, or I'm not going to give you my copy in game. On a serious side note though, in addition to the crossplay, Back 4 Blood has a ping system where you can easily communicate a wide array of things to your fellow group mates if you don't want to talk on your mic or if you can't. Left 4 Dead, of course, did not have this system, and this feature is one of the things I wish Left 4 Dead did have back in the day. Finally, the card system. I've mentioned this a couple times already. I was very skeptical and mistrustful upon seeing this card system, but I really love it now, actually, as you can basically customize or build your own unique playstyle or setup on any character. Whether it's making a, let's say, grenade build or a pure offensive build that yields a lot of DPS, or a tanky healer build, or a kiting build, it offers a lot of different possibilities for a lot of different scenarios in the campaign content. Of course, this card system is present for players in PvP and solo mode. I want to also talk about replayability. A lot of people bring the concept of replayability up in games such as this. A lot of people have also mentioned campaign versus, Steam mods, and a couple other things that contributed to the longevity and replayability of the Left 4 Dead franchise. Back 4 Blood, despite not having campaign versus nor mods, still manages to provide, in my opinion, quite a bit of content, which actually is most of the time challenging, at least up from the veteran difficulty level. What's amazing to me is that it's not a level of challenging where it's incredibly tedious and has artificial difficulty bloated into it like some other games I can mention, but you simply know you can do it with a bit more effort, with a bit more teamwork, with a bit more communication and coordination. And then when you and your 3 new or old friends do pull it off and manage to just barely get away, you feel such a huge sense of satisfaction. It's really great. And due to the nature of the card system and how many possibilities you may have with the card system, it also offers another aspect of replayability to the content for now in Back 4 Blood. Lastly, I want to talk about content and monetization. We also need to talk about another game Turtle Rock Studios developed, and that was the catastrophe of a game called Evolve. Long story short, it had some neat concepts, but both the abysmal gameplay barriers and monetization attempts pretty much killed the funding and support for the game from both the player and dev end. A lot of people are understandably worried that the game devs did not learn from their mistakes with Evolve, and I thought the same too when I looked around in beta. If you guys know me as NephusQS, the content creator from the Elder Scrolls Online MMORPG, then you know I absolutely abhor pay to convenience or pay to win philosophies companies often make or justify to make profits from their games. So far, I don't see that with Back 4 Blood. Most importantly, however, as both a consumer and player, the question that I usually ask is, when I support this company, What do they give me in return long term? This is obviously not a single player game where this question can't be asked, and where the content is theoretically not finite. It's an online co-op game, and Turtle Rock has made very clear they actually want to avoid pay to win and content stagnation. In a recent media release, they said in PvE, if your party leader owns a paid content drop, such as a DLC, you'll be able to play that content with them, including maps, gameplay, and campaign. And this was in regards to if they needed to split their player base or not. No splitting, no exclusion, no separation. Furthermore, they also addressed the fact of pay to win in PvP if people can get content through DLCs. And they replied, in PvP, everyone who bought Back 4 Blood can get access to all additional PvP content, even without purchasing content drops. Players who don't buy the content drops can earn new playable characters and Ridden in PvP for free through progression. Additionally, all PvP players have access to the same cards at the start of each match, regardless of whether those players have purchased content drops or not. And what they said here doesn't scream, I want to milk the player base before the game dies. And furthermore, from what I've researched, Back 4 Blood will be implementing an annual season pass of a sort, which also raised some skepticism for myself, but apparently it will introduce regular content every year, including new campaigns, new maps, new monsters, new characters, and according to the website GamePer, sums up to 3 DLCs per year. And if one DLC is like the only set of campaign content we have now, that's a pretty insane amount of content, at least to me. So, in conclusion, Back 4 Blood, to me as a consumer, seems to be a decent long-term investment as a game. Is Back 4 Blood perfect? Obviously not. It can have issues. Some players have told me that they lag a bit or rubber band, and of course sometimes things bug out, or perhaps there are combat balances to be made and values adjusted. But for the most part, it overall still feels much more polished than its beta iteration, much more polished than some other games I've played recently. And all I can hope is that they continue to improve the game in every area when possible. There are also some aspects of the game that kind of makes me question what the decision making was, like for example the fact you can't swap out attachments on your gun. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Now, I don't want you guys to trust my opinion. I want you guys to do your own research. Watch other people's videos. Watch gameplay videos. Watch people streaming the early access. Like myself, I stream. So if you want to come and chill with me, you're more than welcome to at twitch.tv/nefsqs. But yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't trust just my opinion. I tend to have a more optimistic view of things as far as these things go. I would also kind of check out the details. I believe there's a Back 4 Blood subreddit. I would join the Turtle Rock Studios Discord server, ask other people's opinions, not just one player, such as myself. But yeah, again, this is just my opinion and my honest review of Back 4 Blood as a formerly avid Left 4 Dead player. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about this game, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer them. Going forward, I'll still be posting my regular Elder Scrolls Online content, but I'll also be posting Back 4 Blood content, including specific character deck builds, tips, maybe even lore about Back 4 Blood, and also, of course, I'll be going over things like guns and everything else about the Back 4 Blood gameplay. But yeah, thanks for Nefes and chilling. Stay safe, have fun, and see you guys next time.